Why hello, 5th grade French horn players. So this is how it's going to work over the next little while. I talked about it in Zoom. Our lessons are going to be more instrument specific, which is great. I get the chance to narrow down on specific French horn techniques and talk to you specifically about how to practice an instrument. It would be like in PE if Mr. Williamson or Mr. Dean looked at you and said, go get strong, and then didn't give you any exercises to do, any ways to practice, any ways to become more athletic. I can't just tell you to go get better on your instrument. I need to show you how to do that. So today we're going to talk a little bit about our first 5 notes. I'm going to give you a technique for practice. Long tones are the best way to do it. And we're going to talk about what exactly is different about being not only a brass player, but a French horn player, because there is a lot different. And the first off, is that you have this mouthpiece, which is what we're going to start with. This mouthpiece comes up. You are going to find your F, which is a concert B flat. Right? And just find it, purse your lips together, make this sound without your lips, or just without your mouthpiece. It's a little hard to do. What I'm doing is I am tightening the corners of my mouth outwards, squeezing the middle of my lips like I just ate something sour, and blowing a little tiny stream of air very strongly through those lips. Right? You can practice this pretty simply, like when you're doing a raspberry, which is, right? And then tighten your lips while you do that. Take some practice to be able to do that, but if you can do that without the mouthpiece, then your tone when you do with the mouthpiece becomes that much more strong. Now, when you practice with your mouthpiece, couple minutes at the beginning of every practice, just mouthpiece work. Try to move from low to high. I'm doing that by tightening my lips more and pushing more air out as I go higher, and then doing the opposite, loosening my lips and putting less air in to get the lower notes. One thing I also do as a brass player is as I go higher, I pull my jaw back. And I push my jaw forward for the low notes. That's a little thing that might work for you. It works for me on almost every brass instrument. But once your mouthpiece is warmed up, you know this is our F. So your F is your first note. Make sure French horn is the single most out of tune instrument. And it's such a hard instrument to tune. So what you need to do is find a tuner app. There are apps all over every store for free, Apple Store or iTunes, Play on Android, also just on the internet, Google Tuner, and there's tons for free. This one's just on a separate app I have called Fourscore. You do not need this app, but it just lets me find where my F is. And I'm perfectly in tune. I did not expect to be perfectly in tune, but that is nice. Now, that being our first note, F is your first finger down. So see how this chord diagram works? When it is a black dot, it means your finger is pressing down the valve. So it is first finger down, open, open. Match the note. Listen if you're too high, too low. You might be slightly sharp or slightly flat, but make sure you're on the same note. If you're on this note, you're too high. And if you're on this note, you're too low. We're looking for, right? So that is your first note. Your second note, you can see on the chord diagram, is G. G is open. So no fingers, 3 open spots. Got that? We move on. Third note is A. 2 black dots on 1 and 2 mean your first and second fingers go down. Sounds like. Match that. Second to last note, B flat, just your first finger. Match that. That's it. And then 3 open fingers, no fingers down, is high C. Notice this is the same fingering as G, but G is. So what you're going to do here is tighten your lips slightly more than a G and reach for that high C. Don't reach too high or else you're going to hit. Which you don't want. This is C. So those are your first 5 notes. One thing, off the bat, your hand is in your bell this whole time. Kind of cupping it a little bit. You should feel a little bit of air against your hand. You do this so you're not super sharp. Because otherwise, this note becomes this note. See how it got sharp? Really sharp there. If I move my hand during a note too, I can make it sound like a siren just by moving my hand. Nothing else is moving. Now, don't block the whole bell with your hand, but have it kind of in there a little bit. That's generally the angle I have. Now, what we're going to work on today is long tones. So you are going to need to download a metronome app. Metronome apps are your best friend practicing. They keep you consistent. They keep you working on exactly what you need to without trying to speed up or skip steps. You're going to set it to 80 beats per minute. Again, metronome, you can Google the word metronome and a metronome comes up, or you can download an app. This one is very creatively named Metronome, and it's on the iOS store. Now, what we need to do with these first 5 notes is play them for 8 beats each. When the note starts and ends, it needs to be at the same place, and it needs to stay the same throughout the note. So, when I play a long note, it should sound like this. Should not sound like this. Right? You are trying to keep it as steady as possible. Like when you're flying on an airplane. We like it when it's steady. We don't like it when there's turbulence. Notes are the same. So what we are going to do is play F for 8 beats, 8 clicks on the metronome, and then stop for 8 clicks, and then play G for 8 clicks, and then stop for 8 clicks, and then A, and then rest, and then B, and then rest, and then C, and then rest. Right? 5 notes up the scale. This is what your assignment will be to submit to me by the end of this class, which will be Monday's class. Okay? So here we go. Let me make sure my sound is up. Okay, ready? Take a nice deep breath at the beginning. Nose our first note. 1, 2, ready. Rest. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rest. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. last note. And that's it. So that's your homework for this week, is to record a video of you with a metronome. You have to hear the metronome, set at 80, doing 8 beats of every one of your 5 notes with 8 beats of rest in between them. If you really want to do something cool and impress me, go up and down. So when you get to that C, rest, and then go back down to B flat, A, G, F. Show me that you can work with these 5 notes. Cool? I will see you on our Zoom class on Wednesday, but if you have any questions before then, feel free to reach out to me on Google Chat, with email. I will be available every school day as normal, just sitting by the email. So let me know if you have any questions. Have fun.